Democrats and Republicans massage the legislative language for the payroll tax cut deal today. It will extend the tax cuts, set to expire at the end of the month, until after the November elections. Republicans dropped their demands for new spending reductions to pay for the extension. House Speaker John Boehner says he wasn't necessarily proud of the bipartisan efforts.
This is an economic relief package because the president's policies have not only failed, they've actually made the economy worse. And if we were doing policies like those that we've passed and sent over to the Senate, there'd be no need for this type of economic relief package.
And that was the subject for the start of our interview with House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi. I sat down with her earlier today at the Capitol. House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi, thank you for talking with us.
Thank you for the opportunity to visit.
This coming, evidently, agreement on the payroll tax cut, Speaker Boehner is saying today that this is necessary because of the president's failed economic policies.
How sad. This is necessary because our economy and our people need this boost. For individual families, 160 million American families, this will be a boost. From a macroeconomic standpoint, the demand that is injected into the economy when people spend this money will be a job creator. And again, a temporary measure to help give us a boost. The same as the unemployment insurance extension. The economists tell us that that's an immediate jump start to the economy because of the macroeconomic of people getting money, spending it immediately, injecting demand, creating jobs. Does he want us to get into a discussion of how we got here before with the Bush meltdown of our financial institutions, 2 unpaid-for wars, a prescription drug bill that gave away the store to the pharmaceutical industry, the payroll a tax cut for the wealthiest people in our country, unpaid for, which did not create jobs? I don't know that we want to go down that path. The American people have been there, seen it, they know. Whatever it is, there is a ground truth in our country that we have to help the middle class.
Do you worry, though, that this does take money out of the Social Security Trust Fund and that it may never fully be refunded, repaid?
No, I don't worry about that. I think that this should be the last year for it. And I do believe that other factors entering into our economic growth are weighing in now, and we see an improvement in our growth possibilities. But I think 1 or 2 years, no, the trust fund can handle that.
If this is now off the table, assuming the vote goes as I think you and the Speaker are suggesting it will, what else can Congress get done this year?
I don't know. You'd have to ask him, because for so far, any initiative that the President has put on the table for job creation, they have said no to. What's really sad is, as we are meeting this week, they have a highway bill on the floor of the House. Traditionally, highway bills have been a bipartisan initiative for job creation. This is a bill that has been, for the first time in, people say, 50 years, has not been put together in a bipartisan way. It is not a job creator, but a job killer. Over 500,000 jobs will be lost if this bill were to become law, and it's dangerous to the public safety. More on it if you wish, but for many reasons, it's the wrong path to go down, and this would have been really an important initiative for job creation.
I know that there's a real disagreement over that. What about the president's budget, though? Even there are bipartisan groups out there applauding the president for at least getting a head start on tackling the debt. But in fact, the president promised he was going to cut the deficit in half by this point in his presidency. This is not a budget that goes after entitlement reform, and it uses what it calls savings from ending the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan that, again, bipartisan outside groups are saying are really a gimmick, that isn't money that can really be counted on as savings.
Well, you've put several aspects of the budget on the table. Let me say that I'm proud of what the president's budget is. It's a statement of our national values as to what is important to us as a country, being reflected into our investment priorities in a budget. It talks about investments in our future. It talks about job creation. It talks about deficit reduction. It talks about lowering taxes for the middle class as an ongoing theme. in his agenda. Many of these outside groups did not say the same thing when the Republicans put the savings from the overseas war in their budgets. So this is a legitimate place. The savings are there. They can be used to offset other investments. But it is, again, a continuation of what the president started when he came into office, and he made that statement. Reduce the deficit, create jobs, lower taxes for the middle class, do so by investments in education and innovation, into health care, into energy initiatives in which he is in the lead. What's also important about it, though, and important to note, that when a new president made that statement, he was basing his figures on the information given to him by the Commerce Department of the previous administration, which either didn't know or didn't tell what the actual fiscal situation was.
We are launching into an election year. In the last campaign, Madam Minority Leader, you became a negative symbol for the Democrats. The Republicans went after you with a vengeance. Do you think they're going to do that again this year?
Well, it doesn't matter, but what's important about that is they used money to win the election. They used money. Undisclosed, unlimited, special interest money. And that's why our focus is on disclose. We want to know where that money's coming from. We want people to stand by their ad. You have something to say? You're going to put up tens of millions of dollars to misrepresent the president's position on something or mischaracterize the record of a member of Congress. Stand by your ad. So we want to disclose. We want to reform the system. After we win, we want to amend the Constitution to get rid of the Citizens United unlimited money in the system.
Well, what do you think about the fact that the Obama campaign, Democrats, have embraced the super PACs, which is what you're referring to, just as the Republicans have?
No, let me make the distinction. The Republicans' money was undisclosed. Undisclosed. The president is, I think, doing the right thing to win this election but disclosing what the source of the money is. That makes all the difference in the world, whether people know where the money is coming from. Because if people have to stand by their ad, they may not make such outrageous charges, or they may not even put the money up. So I think the president has to win. He can't go to a baseball game without a bat. And there's so much at stake for the American people in this election. But his is different from theirs in that his is disclosed. Theirs was not, to the tune of about $150 million, as you said, directed at me.
I was mentioning that the Republicans used you. You became a negative symbol on the part of the Republicans in the last election. Should Democrats do the same thing with Speaker Boehner or another Republican?
I think the Democrats are running about the future. The Republicans have always got to attack somebody else because they're, frankly, bankrupt in terms of ideas about the future. We're talking about reigniting the American dream. The president will go out there and talk about what is at stake for the future. It isn't about attacking an individual, which is, if you don't have the issues, you go after the person. He has the issues, he has the values. Reignite the American dream, build ladders of opportunity for all who want to work hard, play by the rules, take responsibility. But we have work to do that, and we would hope to do it in a bipartisan way. I think that's what you'll see on the Democratic side. And winning the election to change the system, to diminish the role of money in the campaign so that the people's voices and votes will decide the election, not the bankrolls of a very few people.
Another topic, the challenge to the health care reform law, the Affordable Care Act, coming up before the Supreme Court next month. Right. Are you worried about that?
Well, I think we're in pretty good shape constitutionally, and when we wrote a bill understanding our responsibilities to the Constitution of the United States. You never know what happens in a court, but in terms of the substance and the constitutionality of it, we feel believe that we're on solid ground.
And if it were to be either in part or fully overturned, what would that mean for the Congress?
Well, let's be on the positive side. Even some of the most conservative groups, the Heritage Foundation, for example, supported the individual mandate, and that's really the essence of the court, the case going to the Supreme Court, the individual mandate. That has had support from right to left. the political spectrum. But you know what? It's the third branch of government. They will act upon their responsibilities and the substance before them. In terms of what we legislated, we feel very strongly and believe that it's on strong constitutional grounds.
A question, Madam Leader, about the war in Afghanistan. There was a report in the New York Times last week on an exhaustive and really devastating report written by an Army colonel who went over to Afghanistan. His assessment is essentially that this war has been a disaster and that the military leaders of the United States have not leveled with the American people, saying the situation on the ground is much worse than what the American people have been led to believe. My question is, first of all, are you familiar with the report? And if you are, do you agree with his assessment? Well, you've spent time looking at this.
I've gone to Afghanistan many times in the course of our involvement there. And my last trip was most optimistic. It was bearing fruit from the changed approach that President Obama has taken. You have to remember that when the president took office, there had been no plan for Afghanistan for the full time, for the 7 years before he took office. It's a very sad tale to say. We went in. We routed the Taliban, we did not defeat them, and we went to Iraq. The president came in with a new approach to how to transfer the responsibility for security in Afghanistan to the Afghan forces, and that I see much more progress in the past year than I had seen in the 10 years before.
Do you have confidence in what the military leadership is saying about how the war is going?
From what I have seen there. Now, let me say this. I think that we will be honoring the president's announcement that we will be reducing our number of troops or changing their mission in this year, in 2013, the year to come, in order for us to leave in 2014.
Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi, thank you very much for talking with us.
Thank you.
And a note, we did interview House Speaker John Boehner last week. You can watch that interview on our website.